Hello, as you can see by the box on my table, today I will be doing yet another overview or comprehension review or just a story or audio podcast, so not sure how to name it. Today I will talk about the IMR. I really like this British company. I liked their first model R1, and then it was a real pleasure to see how they are improving this model, adding new models to their lineup and so on. So I will tell about their models that I own right now. But this story will be shorter than Campfire Audio's one because only 5 their models I own, and basically, if I remember right, it's just the 5 models that they've released right now. There are a few other models in the work, so in the this May they should release EDP, affordable everyday planar, so planar magnetic in-ear monitors with single planar driver. Also PB1, and PB1 I'll probably skip because it's just a slight variation of the IMR RA. And I will get also IMR R3 Halcyon or Halcyon, not sure how it should be pronounced, their next flagship model. So I prepaid them and as many other people waiting for them. But today we will talk on the already released models, we'll cover them and talk about them. So, what else I can say about this company? So they were the pioneers of creating hybrid in-ear monitors using dynamic driver and piezo tweeter. Really good combinations that I really like. Also, they are keen on using filters to improve sound. Also, during last few years, they showed really good level of support, of customer support, because when they were releasing R1 Zenith, there some batch of that in-ear monitors had issues with polarity, and actually everyone affected just received the second corrected pair for free. But you could simply fix first pair, so basically everyone affected gets the second pair of in-ear monitors. Anyway, I really like their approach to the sound, and also I pretty like their approach to marketing, because if you bought their model, you will have the discount code for all other models. So I won't be naming prices because it depends on how loyal customer you are, because loyal customers have them for less price. So they offer pre-order pricing and all other stuff like that. And what else? Basically, let's start. Just yet another note. I won't be doing ratings, won't be doing like top 10 or something like that. It's just kind of story of subjective experience. So the first two models were R1 and R1Z. As you can see, package was pretty much similar with slight difference in colors and in polygraphy. Besides that, everything was pretty similar. Actually, here were technical specifications printed, here they were not, but not much difference. And let's start from the R1. As you can probably see, I use this model really actively. They even show the heavy signs of wearing, because in the first version this coating were not so good. So they started to dent somewhere, but actually it's one of my most used pair of in-ear monitors. I carry them everywhere with me in my backpack, just in case when I will need them. So it's like honorable mention. So here they are. Shape of the shell will remain almost unchanged with all the future models. They used single filter tuning system, so basically it's just winding spouts, so you can unscrew them or screw back to change the sound. I don't remember, they offered 5 or 6 versions. Traditional tips. By the way, I really like IMR tips because they fitting really nicely to my ears, these orange stem ones. And also they offered exchangeable vent port. So open, you can have them closed back or open back, just the way you like. Here I used 2-pin connectors, actually pretty tight ones, but anyway, let's pull them harder. So you can use some other cables, but stock one was pretty tight and not for choice, not for everyone, because they were pretty robust, reliable, but at the same time pretty inflexible. So for me they were doing okay, but many people didn't like them. So you know, it's a bit of subjective, because some people complain about the wearing comfort for the IMRs, but I got zero issues with them, and basically it's one of the best fitting in-ear monitors to my ears. So as you can see, really audiophile cable, you can use it for mounting, climbing or some other activities. And of course, in terms of sound, they require burn-in. Actually, all in-ear monitors by Campfire Audio require burn-in. They featured big dynamic driver with pretty punchy and powerful bass, but first R1 was tuned a bit, you know, like in a vintage style, suiting perfectly for classic rock, classic metal, jazz, other stuff like that, you know, like a bit analog sounding. At the same time, you get pretty punchy bass and nice textured and pretty finely tuned treble, but with a slight accent. So these models are not for treble sensitive people or for treble phobics, but at the same time they are a bit on the emotional side, and probably I can call their sound as a bit rough, because they highlighting emotions a little bit. And then after gathering different complaints and addressing all that imperfections that addressing issues that some listeners had, IMR released R1Z or Zenith. So as you can see, first of all, they improved the coating quality, because I also actively used them, but coating stays in place, so issues with this chrome plating or what is it was addressed. Also, they introduced absolute masterpiece of mechanic engineering in the in-ear monitors world, this interchangeable port system. So it's like tiny valve, you can open them, you can close them, or you can find some different positions, so you can get them as open as you'd like. It's, you know, fun to tune, fun to use. I like such tiny details, and they look a bit unusual, but pretty interesting. And still one single part filter, because in future models they will start using the dual filters, so just one small filter. And also they addressed issues with cables, not perfectly, but as you can probably see, new cable is softer and thinner and a bit slicker. Still not perfect, but this issue will be addressed in future models. And in terms of the sound, yet another step forward. Actually, a boosted treble for those who like well extended, good layered treble, and a big spacious imaginary stage, probably thanks to this open port system. If you open them, they works almost like closed back in-ear monitors, offering pretty spacious three-dimensional sounding and big bass, a bit less forward mid comparing with bass and treble. So kind of, you know, in terms of frequency response they are close to flat, but they perception, you perceive them as a bit of V-shaped signature because lows are accented. And actually, you know, all IMR models could be pretty bass heavy. With different bass tuning you can tweak them in a pretty bass heavy way, or can tweak them more to the normal sounding. So it was like, you know, improvement here, more clarity, more detalization, but at the same time more treble, so it's even less treble phobic model. Of course, if you're interested in more detailed reviews, just check out my channel. I reviewed them all and created pretty detailed overviews, and also I mentioned almost all their models in my year recap videos. And now we are at the point where things changed more drastically. IMR finally found their current set of ideas. So first of all, it's new case that they're using in all their recent models, and I really suppose they will use it in future, because, you know, I'm a bit conservative, and if I like cases, I like when there are a few similarly looking cases on my table, and, you know, it's warming my heart. So it was the first model that they released in this new configuration. It's IMR R2 or A10. So nice nylon bag, even with handle, really convenient and well protecting the internals. Inside you will get two cables. In the monitors themselves, I pull them out, set of tuning filters. Now filters became two-part, so you can separately tune bass and mid and treble, adapter, and traditional set of tips. So, you know, final version of the accessory set and packaging. So all other models have them too. And here is an example of how IMR address the issues with their models found before. So as I've said in the previous video, in the previous section of this video, the cable was improved in Zenith, but still not everyone likes them. And finally appeared their signature cable, soft, flexible, reliable. So they finally nailed it, and with ear hooks format for better wearing comfort. So everyone who wants them, get them. In terms of design, inner part of in-ear monitors remains unchanged more and more. So, you know, it's why change something that looks already good? But what they did change, it was this filter system. So as you can see, two layers or two unscrewable details, top one and bottom one. So with this one you can change low frequencies. With this one you can change the treble, and you are usually getting like from 30 to 50 combinations in different models. So of course it's hard work trying them all, but there are already options that were found by the community, and so you can just read Het5 forum. Actually, I recommend you reading Het5 forum dedicated to IMR models, because it's one of the most friendly and welcoming community. So there are fine-tuned already found presets, so you can start with them. One of them, it's double red, also, but I prefer red black or double blue. So I don't like double black, which is the most basiest option of IMR. I'm not such a big fan of low frequencies. And as you can see, they also simplified the design a little bit. Instead of that complicated mechanic part, they introduced kind of steampunkish looking grill. So a bit unusual, but I find this design attractive. I like the steampunk style. In terms of the sound, it was another step from R1Z to the more modern lineup. Still pretty treble intensive, but a bit less sharp than R1Z, with a bit more focus on the mids, but still bass was accented and treble more, so mids are really good and detailed as in all other IMR models, but just because of the punchy bass and treble, mids sounding a bit recessed. But actually they are not as recessed, so I am not suffering from the lacking of mids here, but of course it's a matter of treble, and with most bass polite filter actually mids are pretty linear with bass, but also you will have detailed extended treble giving you all the airness and other related stuff, so that's actually why I like them. I am a fan of treble, and this in-ear monitors providing the proper amount and really good technical quality. I will step aside from the chronological order because this model appeared a bit later than the one that I will show next, but anyway, it's a continuation of the regular R2. It was R2 Red. Basically similar model, but community asked IMR like can we have a version of R2 that is closed back and more suited for the daily commute. So IMR first decided to create a closed back model, so as you can see the slight difference in the design, introducing this kind of lead, or how to name this part. Besides that, absolutely similar tuning, so just change this part, actually not tuning, build. Also two-step filter, all the same, done in the same way, but then they've, they changed the design, acoustical design of in-ear monitors, and then they found that sound changed. Not surprisingly, of course, but then they've decided to retune their sound to suit more the closed back tuning, and after that they changed it even more, creating, more street-friendly version of the IMRs. So they are probably the most treble polite in the IMR lineup, so they don't still not treble shy. Treble here is present, but probably it's the least treble forward models in the IMR lineup, and because of that mid sounding more forward here, and they are a bit warmer. So of course difference isn't big comparing with 18, but it's still noticeable. It's kind of accommodating tuning for street wearing, because usually on the street the low frequencies noise penetrate in-ear monitors best of all, and bass suffering the most during the street wearing. And they addressed this issue, so on the street you will have still viable amount of low frequencies, but of course with filter tuning you can get more of bass, you can make them pretty bass heavy, and so on. And actually it's kind of a bit warmer tuned, but still emotional, with still technical treble, so all that features that IMR usually offers, but tuned in a bit different presentation, suiting really good for electronic music, for jazz, for live performance, for vocal, from all the genres that benefit from a bit of added weight on the mids and on the low frequencies, but more on the mids. And actually they are a bit more mid forward comparing with Aten. And last but most advanced addition to the IMR lineup, as you can see, shells became noticeably bigger, thicker, you can see, so noticeable change in the design. It's IMR RA. Now it's three-way hybrid in-ear monitors. Here used dynamic driver and piezo driver, but also they use planar magnetic driver here, and it's a model for those who lacked mid frequencies. And actually, kind of spoiler, it's the model that I used most of all right now. It's my on-the-go in-ear monitors, because they providing my favorite type of tuning, maybe until the R3 will be released, but we will see. So you can see yet another simplification of the shells. Now it's almost totally closed with two vents, pretty big here on up and bottom side. Also shell is bigger to accommodate third driver, pretty big planar driver. Also two-step filter tuning system. As you can see, actually I prefer red as bass and black as treble. It's kind of my favorite combination, but of course it's a subjective matter. And besides that, same cable. It's actually even a bit softer than before, or maybe just as soft as before, not sure, but it seems a bit softer for me. Still, they require extended burn-in, and as all other in IMR models, during the burn-in they changing sound in a really noticeable way. So it's near monitors to convince skeptics about the burn-in process. Anyway, in terms of sound, it's the most advanced and up-to-date model in the IMR lineup. The most mid-forward, most technical. Of course, good planars are perfect for mids, and they deliver enough of punch, enough of aggression, big bass if you need it, punchy, weighty, and so on. Technical resolving mids, but at the same time not lacking weight like balanced armature hybrid model, and same signature extended treble that made me fall in love with them. So they are sold out, if I remember right, and even removed from the company's website, but probably they will reappear in some other way, or maybe not. You know, IMR is boutique company, so they don't have stable product lines. They releasing few new models every year, and that makes my wallet cry a little bit, but still I like their tuning, so I will keep getting new models, collecting them just because I like them. So it was IMR. I'm really waiting for the new models. I hope that in May international airmail will start working again, and I will get new models without issues, and I will definitely tell about them to you. So I really suppose that I also will have something new for the next video. So thank you for listening, have a nice day and stay safe.